In today's SOD TV's Daily Top 10 video, we're focusing on the current leaders that have held the #1 spot. Holding the top spot for an impressive 18 times is the indomitable Nightsong. This Shaman spec tank player is part of the Summers Guild on the Living Flame EU server and has proven to be a force to be reckoned with. However, the competition is fierce. Also holding the top spot 18 times are Warlock tank player Enigmexx and Hunter melee player Tree Ranger. They've proven their mettle time and again, giving Nightsong a run for his money. Not far behind is Druid Guardian player NMX, who has clinched the top spot 15 times. This player has shown consistent performance and is definitely one to watch. In the balanced Druid category, Feewolf from the Guild male models continues to dominate with a DPS of 1079.8, maintaining the top position for over a week now. Close behind, Sint from the Guild Blessedx holds steady with a DPS of 1069.3, while Innate from Humbertism rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 1051.2. Let's not forget the remaining top 10 Perrin, Hotmas, Blazerus, Centripetal Adriu, OK Bloomer, and Ba Xiao Ba. Their performances are not to be underestimated as they continue to challenge the top ranks. In the Feral Druid category, the top 3 players continue to hold their positions with impressive stats. Parse Police from the Guild Silver Saga continues, maintains their reign at the top with a DPS of 1466.8, a position they've held consistently since the start of the month. BGTD from the Guild B Tribe trails closely behind with a DPS of 1453.6, while Lawsuit, also from Silver Saga continues, holds the 3rd spot with a DPS of 1436.2. The remaining top 10 players, who also deserve recognition for their performance, are Iandef, Melivarus, Cyclonogist, Giny, Africantiger, and Ambatukum. In the Guardian Druid category, NMX from the Guild Chinese Textile Machine has held the top spot for over a week with a consistent DPS of 848.2. Not far behind, Kildrapuli from Sepan Kalasura has been maintaining a DPS of 831.1, securing the 2nd position. Kadadi from B Tribe rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 823.2. The remaining top 10 players, who are also noteworthy for their performance, are Suduapjit, Ankler, Minetsis, Vistalo, Sayaju, Golio, and Yuan Feng. In the Melee Hunter category, Tree Ranger continues to dominate with a DPS of 1556.9, maintaining the top spot for over a week. Representing the Guild Cartel, Tree Ranger hails from Living Flame US. Close behind, Olgi from the Guild Din Dansky Methode boasts a DPS of 1514.9, followed by Johnny Sins from the Guild Oxygen with a DPS of 1507.9. Both Olgi and Johnny Sins are from Living Flame EU and Lone Wolf EU respectively. The remaining top 10 melee hunters include Resorth, Yangla Chi Chi, Zatara, Cornshot, Mini Arrows, Waffle Freeze, and Tenuki. In the ranged hunter category, Isoled out from the Guildfoot Long Party Dogs, Sod continues to dominate with a DPS of 1432.2, maintaining the top spot for over a week now. Floraberries from the Guild Chinese Textile Machine has made a significant leap to the 2nd spot with a DPS of 1407.5, while Tubbalumpkin from the Guild Smooth holds steady at 3rd with a DPS of 1349.7. The remaining top 10 players, in no particular order, are Tribalus, Fragmaster, Bumrush, Mihureth, QIA DCO, and Loki. In the Arcane Mage category, Masakas from the Guild I'm Not Sure continues to hold the top spot for the 5th consecutive day with a DPS of 726.1. Digidoo from the Guild Resist holds steady in 2nd place with a DPS of 677.4, while Cuties, despite being guildless, secures the 3rd spot with a DPS of 631.4. The remaining top 10 players, who are also worth mentioning for their commendable performance, are Muju, Insimage, Mwaxo, Burnett, Dazid Pianade, Greats, and Georgia, Luan Shay, Kiao Bao. In the Fire Mage category, the leaderboard has seen some exciting shifts. Today's top player is Chef, boasting a DPS of 1196.2, followed closely by Delano with a DPS of 1195.3, who held the top spot for an impressive 6 consecutive days. Rounding out the top 3 is QIA Jujiayi, maintaining a strong presence with a DPS of 1177.8. The remaining top 10, all demonstrating exceptional skill and strategy, are Mellowish, Tuma Charmer Corbs Duchanim, Gila Z, Magisula, and PDM. In the Frost Mage category, Watch Tome continues to dominate the leaderboard, maintaining the top spot for over a week with a DPS of 1039.4. Wixard made a significant leap to the second position today, boasting a DPS of 1017.7. Obi, with a DPS of 991.9, holds steady in third place. Notable mentions go to Clank M, TDMZ, Tripo, Sheng Ming Yu, Nizin Mei, Lin Shi, Eriki-san, and Joboshi, who round out the top 10. In the Protection Paladin category, the top 3 players continue to demonstrate exceptional performance. Holding the number 1 spot for over a week now is He-Er May I See, consistently delivering a DPS of 1291.7. Following closely behind is Boy Sothic, maintaining a steady DPS of 1230.6, and One Punch, who rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 1229.3. The remaining top 10 players, each with their own impressive stats, include Fakyaz, Farvold, and Ming, Fat, Duz, Kazurk-T, and Gonf. Their determination and prowess continue to keep the competition fierce and the leaderboard dynamic. In the Retribution Paladin category, Kui Yu continues to hold the top spot with an impressive DPS of 1429.4, maintaining this position for over a week now. Following closely, Myla Cyrus from the Guild Pepident holds the second position with a DPS of 1376.8, while Pettery from the Guild Dragonslayers rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 1372.8. The remaining top 10 players, who are also worth mentioning for their outstanding performance, are Elf Chapo, Funky Kong, Tyrion Poldering, Fidan, Ikanos, Muse, and Jijiju. Each of these players have their own unique strategies and strengths, contributing to the dynamic and competitive nature of the Retribution Paladin category. In the Shadow Priest category, the top 3 players have shown exceptional performance. Zhangulu from the Guild Yumaplay has held the number 1 spot for 2 consecutive days, boasting a DPS of 983.9. Close behind, Shengdu's Conscience, with no guild affiliation, holds the second spot with a DPS of 977.9. Wagga from the Guild Link Logs rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 948.9. The remaining top 10 players, who also deserve recognition, are H-Julp, Flayed, Shenyuan Zian, Smor, Theradrin, Tissania, and Kisipo. In the DPS Rogue category, Ajanin from the Guild Cartel has surged to the top with a DPS of 1520.1, breaking the long-standing reign of Body Snatcher from the Guild Fatality, who has held the top spot for over a week with a DPS of 1507.1. The third spot is held by Zhu Shui Dai from the Guild Chuan Shang, maintaining a consistent performance with a DPS of 1498.6. The remaining top 10 players, making their mark in the DPS Rogue category, are, in no particular order, Feng Xiaoyu, Lash the Trash, Karina, Jebarium, Sylph, Tyriella, and Shrai. In the Tank Rogue category, Nerf Assassin continues to dominate with a DPS of 1096.4, holding the top position for over a week now. This player from Nerf Shadow Club Guild has consistently outperformed the competition. Nova follows closely in second place, representing the guild from Living Flame with a DPS of 1062.4. Zombie from the Wild Growth Guild rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 1058.7. The remaining top 10 players, known for their impressive gameplay, include Sketcher, Scion, Twisted Step, DNP, Hakwin, Wool, and Wangyamulrag. In the Elemental Shaman category, the top 3 players have shown impressive stats. Relax from the Guild Ego maintains the top spot with a DPS of 1261.4, holding this position for several days now. Bread Gloves from the Guild Male Models follows closely with a DPS of 1235.8, while Hexmither from the Guild Hunks rounds out the top 3 with a DPS of 1165.9. The remaining top 10 players, who have also shown noteworthy performances, include Bangog Dongsum Jameog, Gag, Bruce Wayne, Dilly, Needmilk, Lahipir Akka, and Lava Blurst. In the Enhancement Shaman category, NA from the Guild Den Dansky Method continues to hold the top spot for the 5th consecutive day, boasting a DPS of 1596.9. Close behind is Fake Band from the Guild Male Models, maintaining a steady DPS of 1566.4. Rounding out the top 3 is Iopetisham from Strictly Business, with a DPS of 1550.6. The remaining top 10 players, each formidable in their own right, are Easy, Mahatu, Bazadar, Zobe, Boinky, Baljiandol, and BDD. Their performances continue to shape the competitive landscape of the Enhancement Shaman category. In the Tank Shaman category, Nightsong from the Guild Summers continues to dominate with a DPS of 1,147.5, holding the top spot for over a week now. Close behind, Iwo from the Guild Trash maintains the second position with a DPS of 1,123.4. Rounding out the top 3 is Vistalo from the Guild Conspiracy, boasting a DPS of 1,013.1. The remaining top 10 players, showcasing their prowess in the field, include Biergen, Shamsky, Rak, Walks, Kushaman, Gearshaman, and Tyhex. In the DPS Warlock leaderboard, Taco from the Guild Angles continues to dominate with a DPS of 1,203.6, maintaining the top spot for over a week now. Kias from Dragonslayers has made a significant leap to the second spot with a DPS of 1,201.7, pushing Wayne Warlock from Chung Nuo to third place with a DPS of 1,169.4. The rest of the top 10, known for their exceptional gameplay, include Amayato, Pantslock, Strawberry, Demons, Benzalalek, Firamatic, and Zhang Gudong. In the Tank Warlock category, Enigms XX of the Guild Pepitant continues to dominate with a DPS of 1,045.0, holding the top spot for over a week now. Close behind, Lobster from Mudhut Elite maintains a strong second position with a DPS of 1,040.2. Rounding out the top 3 is Gian Renando from the Guild Eel Renegib, delivering a DPS of 1,021.1. The rest of the top 10, in no particular order, includes Dinosaur, TikToxic, GigaPro Max, Barot, Kyrek Meta, Locktank, and Havoc. In the Fury Warrior category, Sapato from the Guild Ego continues to dominate the leaderboard, maintaining the top position with a DPS of 1,801.5 for over a week now. Atasmos from the Guild Chinese Textile Machine has climbed to the second spot today with a DPS of 1,700.7, pushing Mokbio from the Guild Eel Renegib, who has a DPS of 1,658.9, to the third position. The remaining top 10 players, who are also showing impressive performances, include Subtamayov, Jia Qi Easy's PBU, Shaya, Alondo, Daju Liang, and Mirax QT. In the Protection Warrior category, Suffix from the Guild Exhausted continues to dominate with a DPS of 1,453.2, holding the top spot for over a week now. Close behind is Agane, making a leap to the second spot with a DPS of 1,440.4, and Bodil from the Guild Lethal maintaining a strong presence at third with a DPS of 1,436.3. The competition remains fierce among the remaining top 10 warriors being Threat, Kabir, Duo Luo, Siazu, Inzaki, Mani, and Ali, each showcasing their prowess in the battlefield.